Hello and welcome back to the Bobby and Beardy Show. That's right, he's back! It's Beardy, everyone! Now, I know what you're thinking. Don't worry, Torgy and I will be back to complete our classic review series of Hellboy, probably later on this week. But today, Beardy and I are talking about Transformers 1, a film he definitely wanted to see when I suggested it. Time codes are below, spoiler-free sections, spoiler sections, although I'm not sure there'll be that much in this film, really. Jump about, skip around, all up to you. I do not care. We're also on Spotify. Have a listen. But Beardy, welcome back to the show. How the devil are you, sir?
I'm both good and bad. I've been away in Turkey for 10 days. It's been very, very nice. I got ill the day before I went, and I'm still currently ill. That's fun for me. As proven by that. But no, it was fantastic. My first holiday in like 5 years. I very much enjoyed it. I didn't tan as much as I'd liked, which is very sad, but I'm a pale boy, so. How about you? I saw I watched the Torgy and you videos whilst I was away. They were very good. It was very chaotic.
Oh,
very good.
Super chaotic, super long, especially Hellboy 2. I've been away as well. I wasn't in sunny Turkey, not getting a tan. I was in semi-rainy Glasgow, not getting a tan.
Okay.
Yeah, had a lovely long weekend, and now I'm back and shenanigans ahoy. Lots of work to do. Let's crack on with the show.
Let's crack on.
Is the rundown for Transformers 1, which is an animated action film based on Hasbro's Transformers toy line. You all know what it is by now. They've been making live action of this since 2007 or whenever. We all know what it's about, and it's been in the public eye for decades at this point. This is not a new
50 plus years.
Product. This film is directed by Josh Cooley, screenplay by Eric Pearson, and the writing duo of Andrew Barra, Gabrielle Ferrari, based on a story by those two as well. So they based the story, they wrote the thing, brag about it much. The ensemble voice cast includes Chris Hemsworth, Brian Tyree Henry, Scarlett Johansson, Keegan-Michael Key, Steve Buscemi, Lawrence Fishburne, and John Hamm. UK release date was the 11th of October 2024. It's got a runtime of an hour and 44 minutes. The budget, apparently, somewhere between 75 and 147 million. Thanks for narrowing it down for me, internet. Really helpful. It's made a worldwide box office, as of yesterday when I wrote these notes, of $111 million dues, American, not Australian. I think it was out in the rest of the world before it came to us in the UK, Beardy, based on those numbers. I know other films in the zeitgeist have been bombing big time and hard, but I don't think all of Joker 2's audience have gone, Transformers, right? But Beardy, what's the story of Transformers 1?
So it's a prequel basically to everything, and it's kind of Optimus Prime's origin story, because we don't have enough origin stories this year. Based on Cybertron, it's a explanation of how he came to I guess power or leadership. The idea is the Primes started on Cybertron as the first generation of Transformers, and there's different classes, as always, because we're all equal, but some are more equal than others.
Class warfare, mate. All over again. Unbelievable. But they're robots this time.
It's a child version of Animal Farm, and you're going to understand that, obviously. The worker levels, the miners have to mine energon to keep the planet going, as far as we're told at the beginning. And
what are you suggesting here, sir?
I know. It is the story of two rapscallion versions of those miners, D16 and Orion Pax. Don't take the OP to mean that he might become someone with OP as initials later. Nothing to do with that at all. And it's their story of misfortune, bad luck, to accidentally stumbling across greatness. With a lot of comedy.
Fun film. I really enjoyed this.
It's a very fun film. I honestly, so yeah, as you alluded to, I didn't want to see this film. I thought it looked garbage. I had to see it the day it came out in the UK with hard captions, which I hated. And And I sat in there, I was like, this is going to be terrible. I watched the first minute, I was like, this is going to be terrible. And about 5 minutes in, I love this film. This is ridiculous. I have to now admit to Bobby that I loved this film. And it's really annoying.
He was so grumpy. He was
so annoyed.
Grumpy about the fact that he had to see a Transformers film. I must admit, though, I actually thought this was going to be terrible. Well, it didn't look. It just didn't look very good. And also, Transformers has just been. There's been a Transformers film like what feels like every minute.
I honestly believe. I think that the two things this does well. Firstly, it's one of the first Transformers films in a very long time that doesn't have any humans in, which is nice. I like seeing that they're different. Let them have their own thing. Not everything is human centric.
Yeah.
Also, like you mentioned, it's the first animated one in 40 years, 30 years.
Well, it's the first animated cinematic release that. So.
Yeah, at least 1980s since the last cinematic release, and neither of us were alive when that. I think it was 1984.
Speak for yourself.
So,
and me, I wasn't alive either.
I forget things, but not that. But no, it was a lot funnier than I expected. The storyline was actually really good. I think that it's my standard thing. I think I've mentioned this on the podcast before. I don't like films that are too obvious. I don't care if it's a kids' film. I want some subterfuge.
Which it is. It is a kids' film. I must stress we're watching a kids' film here.
Yeah. It's obviously very telegraphed, and you know exactly what's going to happen. Like I say, with Orion Pax, not exactly a spoiler. You can tell by the pictures straight away.
I don't think that's meant to be a secret, in fairness.
The biggest secret to me is, as I was listening to this all the way through, I was like, I know this now. Lawrence Fishburne, easy, knew that straight away. And the rest are like, oh, okay, Keegan-Michael Key, that's pretty obvious. I enjoy the fact that the director told him to basically just speak in his normal voice. We don't want a voiceover thing. We don't want a spec. Just talk like you, and it's perfect. And it works nicely. Whereas Chris Hemsworth, they were like, do not talk like you. Make a voice up, please.
You have to be a bit like Optimus Prime, please. But not too much like him at the start. You've got to build into it.
Yes. And Scarlett Johansson, I had no idea, basically all the way through.
And I also had no idea who was playing Sentinel Prime, which is John.
Oh, I got that one. My other half thought it was the lad from The Boys. I can't remember his name.
What, Homelander?
Doesn't matter.
Or Huey?
Yes. Homelander.
Huey Lander.
No, Homelander. But yeah, no, it was honestly, I cannot gush enough about how good I thought this was. I generally enjoyed it all the way through. Even the stupid little puns and little jokes, everything that was so obvious. I didn't hate it, and I really usually hate things that are so obvious. Yeah, no. Then there's some nice little jokes. Like, so we come across B127, who again I don't think it's a secret, might eventually be Bumblebee.
What? Is he?
I know.
I thought that was Badassatron. What are you talking about?
My God, that was fantastic. By the way, his nickname, he's giving himself nicknames. He's like, my name is Badassatron. And you have to say it like that. It's so funny. Oh,
I've got a thing to mention about that later on, actually. To link, we'll link back to that very funny joke.
But like when we first see him, he's been like underground and sub-level 50 for millennia or whatever, and he's gone crazy and made some friends, and one of them is Tron, which is a reference to Key and Peele's substitute teacher joke, where he's like reading out names from a list, and it's like Aaron. It's so stupid, but it's a nice little link, and it's. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really hate how much I enjoyed this.
It's a fun film. Genuinely, it's a lot of fun. I think parents taking their enjoy it. The action is good. The jokes are funny. The characters are entertaining in their interactions with each other. Megatron, or who will become Megatron, he's a little bit of a moany so-and-so throughout the entire film. Especially the first portion where he keeps getting dragged into these shenanigans by not yet Optimus Prime. But yeah, I can't believe how much I enjoyed it, because I went into this going, we had a Transformers film last year, Rise of Beasts. It was fine, but it really felt like, everything's getting on to its last legs of a franchise, because we had starting in 2007. We've got Michael Bay, did 5 films. You've got Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon, aka the Shia LaBeouf trilogy. Yucky, no thank you. Then you've got Age of Extinction in 2014, The Last Night, 2017, aka the Mark Wahlberg duo. Then you've got Bumblebee, which is actually really good.
Yeah.
and then the
Steinfeld.
bit of break, COVID, etc. Rise of Beasts, which is getting shoehorned into the G.I. Joe franchise, aka the what are you doing, guys? So you're like, oh, okay, now we're going to have an animated thing as well. So we're just going to have like multiple universe because it's a prequel, but it's a prequel in its own like universe. It's not necessarily in any way connected to what you've seen before, which is good because it's much better than all of that, if I'm honest. But yeah, it's just a fun film. It's entertaining. I very much enjoyed it. I've got one negative that I'll talk about in spoilers.
Okay.
But yeah, it's these godless losers who can't transform, finding their way in the world. I've got aspirations of greatness, and they kind of stumble into this conspiracy theory, and they have to stand up for what's right. One of them does it in a noble leader kind of way, and the other one goes a bit mental. And maybe just needs to chill out for a second, Megatron. Maybe just chill out for a second.
But they do a half decent job of justifying both ways they go. Like Megatron hasn't just gone crazy over like a weekend. It's years of being downtrodden and someone he looks up to lying to him, and he never wants this to happen again. So he'll go his own way. And you know what? You can kind of relate to it. Obviously, Optimus Prime's one is just it's just honor and the right thing to do all the time.
In wrestling terms, Optimus Prime is a white meat baby face who was just going to do the right thing at all times. And Optimus Prime, okay, they start off as best buds, and that's fun, and they're cute. And Amy and I, we did a little fist bump every time they fist bumped in the film. We just started it, like, at the start.
You're adorable.
We just started doing it. And, like, they fist bumped the first time, I just put my hand up like that. I'm off camera, but I put my hand up, and Amy just fist bumped me. And every time they did it, we did it as well. Megatron's got further to go with his stretch to become Megatron. You know Megatron's a bad guy. So, is it a little bit of a stretch to push him so far so quickly? Maybe, but like you say, it's kind of justified. It's not out of nowhere. There's betrayal of like heroes and downtrodden, and he's been, he's a cogless loser. Ultimately, Megatron needs to stop taking things done to him personally. That's what I'm saying.
Good advice for life for anyone, really.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this film. I highly recommend it. It's one of those films where I don't feel like I could talk about too much because it's just good. Like, just go and see it. I very much enjoyed it. I'm giving it a thumbs up.
Oh, straight away, 100%. Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's one of those, the story. The story's been around for a long time. It's a new take on it. There's a few extra characters and twists, and it's done well. But for a kid's film, the storyline tracks fine for adults. Like I say, everything, for me, the only thing I had with it is everything was a bit too colourful and too bright. But it's a kid's film. You've got to attract, you've got to entertain kids, and those over-saturated colours do that. I do prefer a darker, grittier sort of colour palette for it, but you know what? It's not for me. It's not designed. I'm not the target audience.
You've kind of got that with the live-action films, though. They kind of make it all realistic and gritty, and you have to watch Shia LaBeouf run around for 12 hours. So like you said, it's nice to just have. You kind of forget they're robots. They're just like, these are just guys on a planet in servitude, essentially. Guys.
But because it's on Cybertron right at the beginning, it makes sense that they're not all grimy and gritty and dirty yet, because they're not in hiding. This is where they live. Everything's fine. Obviously, we do come across some of the primes later on that have been left behind for a while, which I'm not going to say too much about right now. And they are a little bit on the grimier and dirtier and dingier side. But even then, it's new. I say new, these things could be hundreds of years old, but they're not hiding on Earth as a broken down truck.
That's a good point. You don't really get, unless I've missed it, you don't really get a sense of the timescale of how long, because the primes have gone. Sentinel Prime is now in charge, leading the ship like an absolute total hero. But then there's suddenly a bunch of cogless losers who can't transform, have come out of nowhere. They're having to mine for energon. So, but there's when did this happen? Yeah, you don't need to know that either. That's not it's fine. It's an aliens planet made from a robot. This whatever. It's fine.
The voiceover and the explanation at the beginning sets the pace really nicely and what's happening, and then you're just like, okay, these are the main characters now. They've got this struggle. And it's the thing you see, it's a trope. Obviously, you've got this like downtrodden loser, like say Cogler's loser, who has this aspiration to be more. You see it in like Ready Player One and so many others. But they pace it well, they do it well. You kind of are rooting for them, as you always do, but you've obviously got the best friend who's kind of being dragged along, who doesn't want to be involved, who adds some comedy. And then obviously when they meet B, it's just really well done. All the characters work well together. There's really good chemistry between them all. Even sort of Lita 1, Scarlett Johansson's character, who hates them.
Yeah.
It's played well, and all the voice acting is decent. Like, I can't really fault any of it.
Yeah, I agree. Should we do some spoilers?
I think so, yes.
Cool. So Sentinel Prime is the bad guy. Who saw that coming? Everybody. But it's fine. It's fine. It's a kid's film. And you're meant to get. He's smarmy straight off the bat. You're meant to go. There's some. This is a fake vibe I'm getting from. So the story, if you're not going to watch it and you want to know roughly, is he betrayed the Primes in an ambush against the alien whatevers, and then also single-handedly killed most of them himself. So was the ambush necessary?
Yeah.
And now he's ruling Cybertron, but he's under servitude of the aliens, and he's taken cogs out of them. He's made them the cogless losers that they are. Megatron's furious. And then they end up on the surface due to shenanigans and discover the truth. Go and sort that all out, which is stuff. And then Megatron. I've got two things I want to say, both basically skipping to the end,
yes.
Right to the end. Newly reborn, because of course Optimus Prime does have to die because it's a Transformers film, and I think it's a legal requirement that he has to die. Optimus Prime lets the newly renamed Megatron, who, by the way, decides to call himself Megatron after his hero, essentially, after an entire film of Bumblebee declaring himself Badassatron. Then the joke is, that stupid Bumblebee, stop calling yourself that. And then Megatron's like, oh, Megatron. You're like, read the room? That's stupid. You're being stupid. But so, yeah, because it's a prequel, they have to let Megatron go. So Optimus just goes, right, you can, like, none of this nonsense, mate. No killing Sentinel for you. You're banished. But take all of these guys that they met earlier, the High Guard, all of the sound waves and shockwave stuff. Optimus Prime, you've just created a never-ending war, mate. Like, what you doing, you idiot? Also, the High Guard made it a massive point earlier when we first meet them that they will follow the strongest fighter, who is Optimus Prime, because he beats Megatron. But Optimus Prime's like, you and your lads get out, and Megatron's like, come with me, lads, and they all leave. I just think the High Guard have made a big goof in their own understanding of their own rules. I reckon they should be following Optimus Prime. That's all I'm saying.
But that doesn't set up decades of story. Like, what are you doing? No, I think, that area just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But obviously,
you've got to do it.
The line needs to, 100%. I think there are some little tongue-in-cheek parts that really annoyed me. So there's Arachnid, who is a spider-like creature who's also a drone. So Arachnid.
Good stuff. No,
that's annoyed. No, do one. Hey. But then there's obviously some plot holes that I don't particularly like. So later on, they kind of use Arachnid's she sees everything element to broadcast a lot of the secrets to the rest of Cybertron and the city they live in.
Do the big reveal, that Sentinel Prime's the bad guy,
And so many of the shots that they broadcast, she can't have seen. She wasn't in those situations. And one of them, she's in it. Yeah. She is watching herself.
Yeah,
it annoys me.
They show you the perspective of like Optimus Prime from the bushes again.
Yes,
rather than her. Yeah, I guess she's a robot. She's recorded all that data. They're showing her memory banks. Yeah, I did notice that's at the time, and I went, "That's a bit lazy."
So annoyed me.
A bit lazy, actually. But it's fine, I guess.
I do like some of the so I did a little bit of research on this, and I think it's easy research. Everyone who wants to look into it will find it. But things like So Megatron's pre-character D16 is called that because it was the serial number or some product number for Megatron's original release in Japan. So the toy was actually D16. It's a nice little thing that if you don't really care about, you won't know. I didn't know. I did some research.
I also don't care.
Fair enough. I can't really argue with that. But it's nice that they did that. And they kind of, one of the characters mentions a rival toy at the time. So I think Tonka, rather than Hasbro, had a rival transforming toy. And as a little like gut punch, they keep mentioning it during it. It's like GoBots or something. So not only have they got 50 years of them winning, they're like, we're going to make a film and mock you in it. But, yeah, again, it's still kind of cool. It's nice little tidbits. It's something to look out for. I like little Easter eggs and stuff like that.
Did you enjoy how Optimus Prime becomes Optimus Prime and thus the leader and ruler of the Autobots by being stupid enough to get himself shot in the face?
Yes.
I don't know about you. That doesn't necessarily.
That's a man I'll follow.
That doesn't necessarily make you the best person to lead. It makes you very courageous, but stupid.
Yeah. You know what? I don't mind it. I like a bit of self-sacrifice in a story. And maybe it was the dumbest way to possibly do it, but it's the self-sacrifice that's necessary to show that he is. What's it? The something of leadership, the spark of leadership.
They need the spark.
Doesn't matter. Watch the film.
It's got to get the box to put in the chest, and they can switch cogs if they want. Then they all get cogs back at the end, which makes me think that Sentinel Prime just had a big pile of cogs hiding somewhere in a storeroom, and then they just all get like
behind a door that says "Don't open."
Yeah, defo not your cogs, cogless losers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they must have been going back to the timeline thing. They must have been cogless losers for quite some time. Because society has totally accepted that there's now cogless losers, and there didn't used to be cogless losers. Everyone, as old guy covered in moss they meet, is like, whoa, what do you mean you're cogless losers? No one's born cogless. So
my biggest issue with Transformers as a whole, like as a principle, the idea is they're living among us on Earth, so their cars, their planes, their stuff like that, absolutely fine. In a situation in a society pre-people where there are no planes and there are no trucks, there is a train, I'll give them that. But why is he turning into a car, a truck, like animals that don't exist natively on their planet? It makes no sense to me.
I've actually got the perfect answer.
I get it,
no, I've got the perfect answer for that. It's hey, shut up. Anyway. Look over here, shut up. Anything else to add? Because I feel like we just said this is a good film and you should watch it, but that's how I honestly feel about
just pointing out parts we love.
Yeah,
honestly, it's just going, this is good, this is good, this is good. Even the downsides, like it's really hard, like the color thing. You know what? It didn't actually bother me that much. I just want to say there's something not good about it. Yeah. Go watch it. Honestly, it's surprisingly good. It's worth your time, and it's a hard hour and a half, roughly, isn't it?
Hour and 44 minutes, I think I said. So yeah, it's not long, and it flies by. To be honest,
the thing is, you take 10 minutes off that for credits, so it's roughly 1 minute. So you never watch the credits anyway. So
I'm out. I almost missed the there's a pre-credits scene where Bumblebee goes back to his old old house / workplace, and he meets his robots. Oh, that's a great line. But the last thing I'll mention before we end is he's introducing Optimus Prime and Megatron to his like the family he's made out of garbage
parts. Yeah.
And Megatron's like, "Do they talk to you?" And he's like, "This guy thinks these are alive. You're a weirdo, Megatron." And then he is actually talking to them. So it's like two jokes. It's like a swerve and a swerve. Oh, it's so good. But also Megatron. Why would you think they're alive? Come on. What's called Steve, mate?
I know.
Anyway,
brilliant.
Let's wrap up there. It's a good show. Yep. I gave it a thumbs up. I'm giving it a thumbs up again.
100%.
We will be back soon enough with something else. Don't know what it is, but don't you worry. There will be a Hellboy review soon.
It's spooky season. Let's do some spooky stuff.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Petition for Bobby to watch a spooky film.
Is it the spookiest time of year in Australia? Tax time? That's a joke stolen from the Weekly Planet podcast completely.
Wow.
We'll be back soon enough. Thanks very much for watching there. We are on Spotify, like I mentioned. Leave a like if you fancy it. Subscribe if you fancy it even more. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching and listening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.